time between Existence and Something to Remember Me By. What happened during this period?
Quite a lot happened during the period of, like, between the two records. When we wrote Existence, we were a completely different band, essentially. We had a different vocalist, a different drummer. Throughout the time, we basically spent, after the Existence album came out, we spent time touring. We then found some new members, a lot changed, and we decided to start writing music that actually matters. So obviously Baz came on board as the new drummer. He's got a very big hand in writing the actual instrumental, the music itself. We went from a bunch of kids playing metal breakdowns to a band that's really trying to say something.
You recently signed with the Rising Empire. What does it bring to you?
A lot of support.
A lot of support. They care about what we care about, and they're just behind us all the way.
Yeah, it's really nice that they've not pushed anything on us as a band. They've basically said, you know, write the music that you want to do, make the videos that you want to make, and we'll just support you all the way. And we honestly, we really appreciate it. So
yeah,
big up our Rising Empire.
Big up our Rising Empire. If you speak about memories, what is your best souvenir during a tour?
Best souvenir during a tour. So I know what yours is going to be, and I'm going to tell it. Is that okay?
Okay, go on then.
So
I have no idea what this is going to be.
We play quite a lot of shows in Romania. We've always had we have quite a lot of friends there and stuff, and the shows are always great. The first time we took Baz out to Europe as the drummer, we played this place in Romania, Cluj-Napoca. Great place, lovely
awesome
people.
Place.
We never told them that it was Baz's birthday, so we turned up, we played the show. It was wild. It was a great time. At the end of the show, we were like, "Thanks very much. We've been to Kill Achilles," and they went, "Whoa, stop!" And all the lights went down. And we were like, "Oh my God, what have we done?"
What have we done? We've offended someone.
Yeah, and then they basically all started singing "Happy Birthday" in Romanian and brought cake through the crowd up to the stage and wished him a happy birthday. Yeah. And the fact that they found out on their own, we never said anything about it being his birthday or anything. Yeah, we felt so it felt so cool that the fans that listened to us actually cared about us as people as well as our songs. So
yeah, I cried my eyes out, man.
Yeah, I did a bit.
It was happy tears. It was happy tears.
Yeah, and then we went to a party and got really drunk. It was great.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, cool. So lyrics are very dark. Is it personal, the real world, or a bit of both?
It's a great question, actually. Do you want to get a bit more in camera? I don't know if we're being recorded.
Sorry. No, we are being recorded.
Yeah, so the lyrics are, I would say, both personal and real world. The entire record was written about our collective experiences as people and the things that we've gone through over the last 3 years. So they're not all my stories. Some of them are his, some of them are Larry's, our guitarist, some of them are Sharky's, our other guitarist, and some of them are Tippett's, our bass players. So yes, they are personal, but they are real world because it's how we felt over the last 3 years. And yeah, we're very proud of it, and it took a lot to. Yeah, it took a lot to man up, if you will, and be honest and explain that amount of emotion. And I'm very proud of everyone for doing it. And I think if we can do it, so can anyone else. And that's what we're trying to push.
Totally, man. Cool. Where are we? So you made a lot of videos for the album. Yes, we did. My favourite, or your favourite rather. Oh God, I've never felt this low. What is the story behind this?
So, funnily enough, it's really good that we've gone into that because I feel like he's interviewing me, man. It's weird.
That's strange. I like it though.
But yeah, so it's funny that we're going into that because essentially, like I said, not all the stories are my personal stories. Our guitar player Larry came up to me one day. He told me this story that we were on tour and he was driving the van. We were all asleep in the back of the van, and in that moment, he realized that he was the furthest away from any one of his friends or any one of his family than he's ever been. And even though he loved what he was doing, he never felt loneliness like that. Just him and a road and 6 hours to get to the next show, and no one's talking to him, and no music is on because people are sleeping. So he just felt pure loneliness in the moment of his favorite thing in the world. So I wrote Low based on that, and basically the story of Low is you can spend your entire life thinking that something is for you, that your passion is this. When you get it, Sometimes it's not what you thought it was going to be. Sometimes you can feel sadness in it. You know, we love tour more than anything in the world. I think I can speak for everyone and say that we all cried during a tour just because you maybe miss home or you maybe miss something, you know? It's the best thing ever, but not all glitters is gold, you know? There's downsides to everything, and just because you thought it was what you wanted to do doesn't mean that it's for you.
Good answer, man. Well done.
Thank you.
That was really good. How do you see the future? Future of the band?
Yeah, are we talking future of the band or the world?
The world. Let's go band. Let's go band.
We'll do both.
Okay, let's do both.
I think the world's going to get better.
Oh yeah, it can't get any worse, really, can it?
True. But I think it's both of them. You're on it. You're on it. Thank you. So the world is going to get better. And the thing that's going to make it better is people working together, you know? Like, it's
follow the rules, wear a mask.
Yeah. Just basically, it's a hard time for everyone right now, but it's only going to get better if we're all in this together, you know? So let's man up as brothers and sisters around the world, you know? Like, let's smash this thing, because it's terrible. As for the future of the band, as soon as the world gets back to normal, we really hope that we'll be back to touring quite regularly.
I would hope so. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So
yeah, lots of
people to tell to.
We're also, in the current future, we're working on new music already. We're working on new music videos from the album, just so that we can tell a couple more stories through the visual art that is.
Yeah.
And hopefully, one day, we'll manage to sort out a live stream event. The only reason that we've not done one yet is because we feel like we want to capture our live show, and the people are so important in that if they're not there, it's difficult. So we're trying to figure out, you know, can we play to a Zoom call?
Yeah.
You know, like, but that's
I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Terrible idea.
We'll figure it out.
You know what I mean? So hopefully, live events, new music, new videos, and also stick together.
Yeah. Cool. So where did we get to? Aren't you afraid the album's too long for the new audience?
That's a great question. That is a great question. I think we all know that we live in a world where you're essentially given everything right away. You know,
everything's right at your thumb swipe or...
Yeah, man. Like, you've got a phone in your pocket that has the answer to everything.
Yeah.
So putting out an album that's what, 48 minutes?
Yeah, 48 minutes. Yeah.
48 minutes long. It's a lot to ask of people.
It's a long time to just sit and listen.
Yeah. But there's something special in listening to it from start to finish. We believe in it.
Yeah.
It's written to be listened to from the beginning to the end. And if you take that time, if you allow yourself that hour, I think you'll feel more connected to the music, because it does flow. It is one piece of art. If you can give it the hour that it deserves, I honestly think you'll understand what we're talking about so much more. You okay with that?
Yeah, great answer, man. Well done. What were your inspirations to write the album? You go lyrically, I go musically.
Yes. So lyrically, I've kind of covered this. It's just our lives. It's everything that's happened to us. It's every emotional state that we've been in over the last 3 years. And it's us essentially being brave enough to say that we're not strong, and it's okay that we're not strong because we have each other. Yeah, it's a concept album about a guy who spends 1 year of his life and ends up taking his own life. Our point was that all these things are normal and real and can happen, and we don't want anyone to experience what our character experiences, and so we want people to talk about how they feel. We want to try and, you know, bring people away from those thoughts. And I think the only way to do that is by normalizing the fact that men and women and everyone around the world should be allowed to talk.
Musically, it was written over a long period of time, so there's not like one thing that was inspired any song or any part of a song. I think it's just how I felt in that moment, in that time that I was writing that. That's pretty much it, really.
Yeah, I back it up. Like, Baz is really good at bringing songs to the table and just going, look, man, I got in a weird mind space and I wrote this, and this is what it is. And most of the time, probably 95% of the time, we keep it the way it was because it's his feelings in that moment in music.
It changes now and again, but it's usually just, that's how I felt. The song "We Only Exist When We Exist Together," can you develop the idea?
I can, but it's a very sad story. Basically, one of Baz's friends unfortunately took his own life one night when I was staying in London, and he called me and basically said, look, this has happened, and obviously I'm really sad. And of course I felt sadness, but the thing that stuck in my head, I couldn't sleep that night. I wrote these words that night. I couldn't feel the same amount of sadness that he felt for that same person because I personally didn't know him, you know? And I felt almost guilty as a person that I didn't know him, so I couldn't feel properly for him because he wasn't my friend. But I knew how important he was to one of my friends, and I realized that, like, that's what life is, man. Life is finding people that are important to you, that you love, and looking after them and caring about them. And if we could all, I'm gonna sound like John Lennon, but if we could all find a little bit more time to love more people, to care about more people, then we'll hold each other forever, you know? That's my view, is that life is about the relationships you make and you keep. And if we could all make a lot more of those relationships,
the world would be a better place.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Dark,
man.
but
Nailed it. Well done. When and how happened the recording and mastering of the album? I think when and how did the recording come about?
of course. So we like to class ourselves as quite a DIY band. We like to do everything in-house ourselves. So myself and Baz are actually music producers as our job, and this guy over here decided that he was going to record, mix and master the entire record.
He's gonna do it all. Actually, didn't do it all, but recorded all the guitars, the bass, and the vocals in this flat that we're in just now.
Some of it on this computer that you see behind us.
Pardon me. And then we bugged my dad for ages, well, maybe not for ages, but we bugged my dad to let us borrow his house for 10 days.
10 days.
To track the drums. So we rented a drum kit, a really nice drum kit, we rented a bunch of nice mics and stuff, and a bunch of nice gear. Took it all up to my dad's house, which is just a nice house in the middle of nowhere. Set up a drum kit, set up a studio in his house, and recorded the drums for 10 days. And then
I got to engineer that because, again, we're all in-house. We like doing things our way. So
yeah, so recorded the drums, and then I took it back here and spent a month mixing and mastering it.
yeah,
Yeah, about a month mixing and mastering it, and then
he smashed it.
And it's what you
everyone's really happy with it.
It's not what you
and he smashed it. Good job.
Thanks, man. Cool. So the cover is bright at the opposite of the album, who is darker. Am I right? Is it to show we can always find hope?
Okay, so with this one, this is, again, like I said, we're quite DIY. So all videos, all artwork, all graphics are dealt with by Mark Sharp, who plays guitar in all that. The cover is not a nice image. It is me underwater. I'm playing the character, and it's me underwater in the final resting place. It is where he ends up. You hear at the end of the record the sound of the waves in the song. It's because he decides to go into the sea and end his life. The cover is basically the end of the record at the start. So it's when you listen to Something to Remember Me By, you see essentially someone who has taken their own life by drowning themselves on the front. You listen to the whole record, and at the end, you hear them do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it starts and ends at the same time. It's horrible, and like you said, the cover itself is not there to inspire hope. The record is there to inspire hope. The record is there to inspire you to check on your friends. If you see any glimmer of similarity in anyone you know, don't let them end up like our story does, because it's horrible.
The last song, and also the title of the album, is more spoken than sung. Why?
Everyone's gonna think I'm very morbid, but the last song is not really a song. It's our character's suicide note. It's the thing he leaves behind. It explains his entire year, explains exactly how he felt in all of those moments, and he leaves it behind, walks into the ocean and never comes back. It's not meant to be a song that you're singing along to. It's a harrowing story. I think serves the purpose of us talking to the listener and going, listen to what you just heard, listen to how bad that can be, don't let it be you.
That's pretty much it, man.
That's pretty much all I can
Nail
say.
on the head. Well done, man. Any last words for the interview?
Well, I've got a few. First of all, thank you very much for having us. We really appreciate it. We're sorry that we had to do it in this way, because we would have loved to have been able to see or hear you, and you know, obviously you put some work into this, so thank you for sticking with us.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And honestly, if anyone hasn't checked out the record yet, please head over to your favourite streaming site. It's on all of them. Give it a spin, and I would recommend from start to finish, even though it's
and let us know what you think, because that's what's the most important thing.
Thank you, and obviously you've just said thanks. So thank you very much. We're gonna head because I think we have a couple more.
Yeah, they were a little bit late for the last one,
but thank you so much for having us again. I hope you have a wonderful night. We're gonna shoot off and do another one of these.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. It's my favorite.
Well
it's
done.
absolutely my favorite. Right, have a lovely night, okay? It would have been nice to have seen you. Hopefully in the future we can still do that. Get in touch.
Awesome.
Anyone who listens to the record, our inbox is always open. You need to talk, we're your boys. See you later. Thanks.